Where the first ever 6A championship game was played tonight. We had a lot of talent on the field. We had a lot of snow on the field, an absolutely wild one. I did brush elbows with Emerald, so I don't know if that's going to translate to my kitchen, but besides that, the only cooking I did was out in the heat myself.
All right, Travis, we'll see you later. Thanks.
Dan Mullen has created quite the excitement level here since taking over as head coach at Mississippi State, generating a buzz in Starkville, with Ole Miss taking a huge win over Texas Tech in the Cotton Bowl, 47-34. In Dallas with the Rebels, Travis Recek, Fox 40 Sports.
9 days ago, 48 teams showed up here with the dream of winning a state title. Only 2 remain. This is what we're built up to, the big boys' 6A title game.
So now I guess the big question is what's next for Hunter Renfro?
Welcome to day 2 of SEC Media Days in Hoover, and while actually all of the attention was pretty much on Johnny football today, Mississippi State was also here. I know that I won't ever be a part of the mob, but I can at least sit on the bench in Omaha with the Bulldogs. Travis Recek, Fox 40 Sports. Tragedy hit the Ole Miss football program this summer with the loss of lineman Park Stevens in a car accident. It almost shook them exactly 1 year ago to the day with a young man who grew up right here. To hear that, walking down these halls and onto this field, it's a privilege granted to very few that get to wear the Rebel red and blue. But that entrance fills the imagination of so many while playing in the backyards or the dirt fields around Mississippi. Stuart Summers shared that dream. A 3-year high school starter, first at MRA and then at Pearl, Summers was one of the best quarterbacks from the 2012 class in Mississippi. Passing on chances to play at smaller colleges, he chased his dream and decided to walk on at Ole Miss last season.
It was a great opportunity just to be able to be a part of the Ole Miss football team. You know, it was a dream coming true for me.
Now, Stewart was far from a star on the team. He knew his role behind the likes of Bo Wallace, but Summers would help run the scout team and take his reps when they were afforded him. He even got that chance to be in uniform on the sidelines with the team he'd give anything to be a part of. And who knows, maybe one day he'd have his turn to take the field. But those dreams took a turn on October 2nd, 2012.
Just a Tuesday workout before practice, and I was just working out. I mean, the workout's pretty hard, but, you know, nothing too bad. And then my heart just started beating fast. And, you know, I didn't think anything of it, really, because it did it during high school a lot. I was walking back to the locker room, and I felt real lightheaded, and I knew something wasn't right. So I was getting dressed for practice, and I mean, it was still beating really fast and everything. I just asked my buddy next to me, Bo Brennan, and thank God he told me to go get it checked out. So I went to the training room, and there they called the team doctor, Dr. Sherman, and he immediately took me to student health.
He says, Dr. Sherman, I don't feel right. I feel like my heart's racing a bit. Because of his history and because of what was going on, I wanted to get an EKG on him. So we started an EKG, and as we were putting the EKG patches on, he arrested. His heart stopped.
Right when I got there, they hooked me up to the EKG, and that's like the last thing I remember is I started passing out when I was on the EKG, and I flatlined, they said, and I just remember gasping for air and Dr. Sherman telling me to hold on.
We had an AED device, and I shocked him back into a normal heart rhythm, at which point he sort of woke up, and the ambulance had arrived by then. We transferred him to Baptist Hospital here where they stabilized him, and then he was immediately transferred to Jackson to UMC where he was seen by the cardiologist.
Stuart Summers escaped death. The efforts of the Ole Miss staff saved him, and the next day he had a cardiac ablation to correct his heart rhythm problems caused by Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome.
It was a crazy deal, but, you know, it all happened for a reason. And, you know, you can see that now.
While Summers recovered back in Jackson, the incident was felt throughout the Ole Miss program.
And then when you get one, you know, from a kid that was working out that you worry about his health in a way that it could be a life or death situation, boy, it's never a comforting feeling. We immediately start praying and thankful that everything's okay with him.
Everything is okay with Stuart now, but to ensure his health moving forward, he had to make a tough decision that ended his time on the Ole Miss team.
I love football growing up. I haven't been without it my whole life, so I mean it was kind of hard to deal with at first, but you know, you realize there's a lot more important things than dying over football for, you know. I wake up every morning and I thank God for another day because, I mean, you never know, you might not get tomorrow.
Now, this semester, Stewart is enrolled as a full-time student at Ole Miss, and he does hope to rejoin the team as a student assistant coach next season.
That is awesome.
Comeback stories in sports can be inspiring. Comeback stories that take 4 decades to complete, pretty much unheard of until you meet this Holmes Community College kicker. He gets ready like a normal football player. But Alan Moore is not like every other guy on the team.
It's a lot different than it was in '68.
As in 1968. Yes, that was the last time Alan Moore played football. Now, it was about this time a year ago that the Taylorsville native spawned an idea to make an improbable comeback.
Went outside and started kicking. Bought a practice tee. It took me about 8 weeks to get one up off the ground. It's the first time I touched a football in 42 years.
The obvious rust wore off and persistence paid off after many colleges turned him away. But Holmes provided Moore one more chance.
It's a great story of perseverance, and then making up your mind you're going to make a commitment to something and working it. And no matter how many times you fail, you keep trying, because we weren't the first place he came.
Trying to do this thing that it wasn't like a me thing, it had to be a we thing. I wanted the team to accept me, the coaches to accept me, and the institution to accept it, and I think that they've all done that. The kids have been awesome. Can't say it any different.
Moore made this team based on his kicking ability. Now, he hasn't played in any of the Bulldogs' 3 games this season, but when and if he does, he'll be the oldest player on record at the JUCO level, and he'll be ready.
My time will come. I think my time will come whenever everything's right.
An inconceivable idea to most has turned into his life's mission.
It wasn't if I was going to kick somewhere in the state of Mississippi, it was where I was going to kick. I'll keep to that commitment to the very last second of the very last game. It's been life-changing. It's changed a lot. It's changed things around, the way I think, the way I do things.
And now Moore's next chance at making some history, getting in a game, will be Thursday. Holmes will host Northeast Mississippi Community College.
With Travis Recek.
One team scored 3 points in the opener, the other 63 last week, but Alcorn State played a much weaker team than the one they faced this afternoon. And in Starkville, Mississippi State in the home opener, and it was the first career start for QB Dak Prescott. As Tyler Russell's out on his first drive, the Dak attack in full effect. 11-yard touchdown run for the sophomore, 7-0 Dogs. On the very next drive, Derek Milton, he is in because Ladarius Perkins also out due to injury. 3-yard score for Milton. The blowout, it has begun. Second quarter, we see the true freshman Ashton Shumpert getting time and getting a TD. 28-0 at this point. Then after a Tevez Calhoun forced turnover, Prescott goes for the sudden change score. Boom. Wide open Jamion Lewis. 37-0 game at the half. Mississippi State cruises from there to win 51-7. So that gauntlet of road games this month for Southern Miss, it begins today at Nebraska. It's a place where they lost 49-20 to open last season. The Golden Eagles trying to snap that 13-game losing streak that started last year in Lincoln. USM 6 turnovers last week. 1 drive, 1 turnover, 1 touchdown tonight. Allen Bridgeford picked by Stanley Jean-Baptiste. Points for the Cornhuskers. It happened again to Bridgeford in the first quarter. Off the hands of Tyreon Holmes, into the hands of Ciante Evans. Yuck. 28-3, Big Red on top right now, just the second quarter. What about Jackson State? They're picked to finish second in the SWAC East Division. The team picked first
The team in town today, Alabama State. The Tigers welcoming Clayton Moore back at QB after missing the opener, but it was the opposing QB who started hot. Less than 2 minutes in, Daniel Duhart to Marcus Gamble, 7-0 Bama State. Next time they touched the ball, this happened. Former Georgia running back Isaiah Crowell, yeah, folks, he still got it. 84 yards, 14-0, but JSU has some big play capability of their own. Semo to Zach Pendleton, looks pretty, is pretty. 66-yard score, tie ball game late in the first half, 14-14. Valley and Delta State meeting for the first time in a decade, and look at the Statesmen pulling out a 24-14 win over the Delta Devils. Casey Osborne, 2 TD grabs for DSU. So football is the focus, but playoff baseball is back as well. The M-Braves and Mobile tied 1-1 in their playoff series. Game 3 in Pearl tonight.
This is what it's all about, as they say. You know, we go to spring training, we talk about competitive winning baseball. We put ourselves in a position to succeed, and, you know, fortunately we've been able to do that. So I think it's been good.
That game just underway at Trustmark Park. Mobile on top 1-0. You can catch highlights tonight at 10. One more baseball note, a report out today that Jackson Prep junior Jake Mangum has committed to play baseball at Mississippi State. The lefty, who had originally committed to Alabama, helped lead Prep to a state title last season. All right, one thing I didn't talk about, obviously Ole Miss is playing right now too. The Rebs just kicking a field goal.